Assalamualaikum and a very good day I bid to Miss Khan and everyone. Today we'll be presenting on our topic, which is mastery of grammar in primary school English as second language or ESL education in Malaysia, challenges and solutions. But first, let me introduce all the presenters for today. First of all, my name is Muhammad Zaidi bin Abdul Manab. The next presenter will be Nurul Afika binti Muhammad Zani, and then followed by Wee Liang Chong. So back to the topic. As future educators, it is essential to understand the complexities that our students face when learning English grammar and how we as teachers can help them overcome these challenges. Therefore, it is very likely to say that this topic is very important, especially for all the teachers, either in Malaysia or anywhere else in other countries, which English is a second language.
Hi, my name is Nurul Afika. So before we start discussing about the issues concerning about grammar mastery and teaching in primary school in Malaysia, as well as what are the challenges that the teachers face, and then the solutions as to improve the grammar mastery in school, we have to begin by highlighting why grammar mastery is critical. So as we know, grammar is the foundation for effective communication in English. So it is essential, it is important not only for speaking and writing, but also for understanding and being understood, hence facilitating effective communication. Although sometimes without the correct English grammar, we can still understand people, but then for us to deliver the message more effectively, we need to have this correct grammar so that people will understand it better. However, in Malaysia, many primary school students, especially those from non-English speaking backgrounds, they struggle with mastering grammar. In this presentation, we will discuss the issues that contribute to these challenges and the difficulties faced by teachers, as well as possible solutions to improve grammar learning outcomes in primary schools in Malaysia.
Let's move on to the first section, where we'll explore the issues in grammar mastery. One of the main issues is limited language input. Many primary school students, particularly those from rural or non-English speaking homes, they don't get enough exposure to English outside the classroom. As Light Brown and Spada in their research paper in 2013 pointed out, this limited exposure makes it challenging for students to develop a strong grasp of the English grammar. In my case, the students in SKKP 2 or Sekolah Kebangsaan Gagak Pulai 2 are those from non-English speaking homes. At home, they speak in Malay. In school, they speak in Malay. They only speak English when they are participating in English class. So they have very limited exposure to English, which makes them very hard to master the English grammar. Another significant issue is the transfer from first language structure to the second language structure. English was taught as the second language in Malaysia, and many students tend to apply rules from their first language, such as Malay in case of the students my students or myself. Chinese, my mother tongue, to English, we apply the rules from our first language into English. For example, Malay doesn't require subject-verb agreement. In Chinese, there's no tenses. So, this will lead us to make errors when we try to use our mother tongue's rule or first language rule into English in second language, which often leads to making errors and mistakes when we speak or when we write in English. Additionally, there's an overemphasis on memorization rather than context-based understanding. While rote memorization may help with short-term recall, it doesn't contribute to long-term retention and comprehension. This is much the case for me as well, because traditional teaching methods such as worksheets and drills that usually when the lesson ends, we will give them to practice and to reinforce the lesson that they have been taught. However, these methods tend to bore students, leading them to feel disengaged from the lesson. According to Idris, Said, and Tan, from their research paper in 2020, this lack of motivation often results in poor retention of the English grammar concept. So in my school, we also have trouble helping the students to master the English grammar because the worksheets and drills, they lack the engagement, which tend to have the said effect, which they lack the motivation to do the drills, the worksheets. They prefer to talk with their friends and play in the class instead.
Now, let's dive into the challenges faced by teachers when teaching grammar. Firstly, the multilingual environment and grammar interference. Teachers and students are mostly from different language background, isn't it? Therefore, this will lead to the negative language transfer as the learner will apply their first language rules in L1 into the learning of second language in L2, as stated by Mahalingam and Yunus in 2017. In other words, linguistic challenges arise due to the differences between the Malay and English language structures. The common errors include the incorrect sentence word order or verb tense usage, as Malay and English have different syntactical rules as stated by Odelin in 2021. Another challenge is the current pedagogical approaches and challenges. It is known that Malaysia's national curriculum emphasized the functional approach to English grammar, encouraged the students to understand grammar in context rather than rote memorization. So, many teachers struggle with the effective implementation due to the insufficient training and inadequate resources, as stated by Ghazali and Chow in 2020. The challenge of inadequate teacher training means that many teachers are not specifically trained in teaching English grammar, nor are they equipped with the necessary strategies to teach it effectively, as mentioned by Jamin et al. 2017. This leads to suboptimal grammar instruction. Next, the cultural and socio-economic factors also play a role. As Lightbourne and Spada in 2013 highlight, students' varying exposure to English due to factors like home environment or access to English language resources significantly impacts their grammar learning. In the Malaysian context, this is particularly evident due to the country's diverse cultural and linguistic landscape. Students from urban areas often have greater access to English through media, technology, and extracurricular programs, as well as exposure at home if their families prioritize English for communication or academic purposes. This enhanced exposure can provide these students with more opportunities to internalize grammatical structures naturally. Conversely, students from rural areas or lower socio-economic backgrounds may face limited exposure to English. This could be due to their fewer educational resources, less access to quality teaching, or a home environment where English is not spoken or valued. As a result, these students might rely more heavily on formal classroom instruction, which can be insufficient for achieving fluency grammatical mastery if the teaching methods are overly rigid or focus primarily on rote learning. Lastly, innovative teaching strategies and resources. Educators in Malaysia are increasingly adopting innovative strategies to teach grammar in a more engaging and effective manner. These include task-based language teaching or TBLT and content-based instruction or CBI, as mentioned by Ahmad et al. In 2021. For example, large class size make it difficult for teachers to give individualized attention to each student. With so many students to manage, teachers often struggle to address specific learning needs, leaving gaps in students' understanding, as mentioned by Gus and Selinker in 2008. However, among these challenges, there is one challenge which I think the biggest challenge among the others, which is the linguistic challenges, which I mentioned before in the first place about the multilingual interference. It is because there are three common aspects in linguistics that have their own problems and have been analyzed as part of the barriers in mastering grammar for students, which are grammar influence, vocabulary, and also pronunciations, as you can see from the table. This is the area analysis of a few aspects where the interference of L1, which is a Malay language, occurs, and how it will become a challenge for them to learn English as a second language or ESL. For the first aspect, which is grammar influence, Malay speaker does not use verb tense markers in the same way as English, which means no inflection for past, present, or future. Learners often struggle with English tenses and might omit auxiliary verbs like is or are. Meanwhile, English has more complex grammar structures such as tense, subject-verb agreement, and also articles, which Malay lacks, creating areas of confusion between the Malay and English language. So the second aspect is the vocabulary. Malay speakers might directly translate phrases leading to unnatural expressions in English. For example, translating saya pergi dulu as I go first instead of I'll be going now. So, in other words, they will direct translate from from Malay to English. However, English vocabulary has many nuances and synonyms, requiring learners to go beyond direct translations from Malay for accurate usage. The last one is the pronunciation challenge, where in Malay they doesn't have certain English sounds such as the t in thing and this, or the difference between V and W letters, leading to mispronunciations, while English includes various sounds and phonemes that are not present in Malay, requiring focused practice and listening. So that's why English is more complicated than Malay language. Therefore, after we all knew all the challenges to master the grammar in English language, do you think that we have the solution for all that?
The my two friends already shared about the issues concerning the English grammar mastery in primary schools in Malaysia, and also talked about the challenges that the English language teachers face in the schools in order to help their students to improve their English grammar mastery. So now I will talk about the solution. So how do we address this issue? Let's now turn to potential solutions that could help improve grammar mastery among primary school students. So one approach is contextualized grammar teaching. So what is contextualized grammar teaching? Contextualized grammar teaching is when you not only learn the grammar rules, but you also learn how to correctly use these correct grammar sentences in real life situations. So instead of focusing solely on isolated rules, as in you just let the students memorize the grammar rules, you should integrate grammar lessons into real life communication styles. Although 2014 recommends using role plays, conversations, and storytelling, which help students see grammar in action and understand its practical use. This is very important because the students, whenever they use the grammar structure, the correct grammar structure in real life situations, such as in role plays or conversations or storytelling, they could understand the grammar use more better and also to use it in their daily life as well. Another solution is for teachers' personal development, which is to improve grammar teaching. Teachers need regular workshops and training sessions on modern methods and second language acquisition strategies, according to Gus and Salinger 2008. So this is very important for teachers because nowadays, because the students they are more modern these days. So the traditional method of teaching, the chalk and talk, might not be suitable for students these days. So we need to think of other methodologies or other pedagogy, other approaches to approach the students to make it more interesting for them to learn, to make it more um, to make it better for them to understand what are the grammar rules or how can they use it in real life situations. So this will also ensure that teachers are better equipped to handle the challenges that they face. Another thing, the third solution that we propose is to incorporate technology and game-based learning, which is, we believe is highly effective because students nowadays they are very well exposed to technology. They are very interested in multimedia and they get easily engaged when a lot of videos, a lot of audios, a lot of maybe cartoons or games were involved in the teaching session, teaching and learning session. So by using digital platforms and educational games, teachers can make learning grammar more interactive and engaging. I took it from my own personal experience when I was in school. Grammar, whenever the teacher, when I was in school, whenever the English teacher said that today we are going to learn grammar, I felt dreadful. I felt like, oh no, not grammar again. So In my mind, grammar is not something fun. Grammar is something dreadful because you have to memorize a lot of grammar rules, and then whenever you write something, you have to be conscious of the grammar rules. So that makes it more stressful for me. However, according to EG Site and Fun 2020, emphasizing that games can make grammar learning fun, stressful, and more memorable. So that's why we suggest that teachers incorporate technology and grammar-based learning to teach students in order to help them to master English grammar. Another solution to focus is to use formative assessment. So by using ongoing assessment, teachers can identify areas of difficulty early on and provide targeted support to struggling students. This is according to Lightbound and Strada 2013. So basically, when the class is ongoing, sometimes it's hard for us to notice the weaknesses that the students have by using formative assessment. So using formative assessment means when the class is still ongoing, the teachers to identify the weaknesses of the students. For example, if we are teaching about verbs, so we're teaching about verbs and tenses, for example. And once we have identified after we finish the topic and then we did the formative assessment, we could identify whether or not the students have mastered, for example, identifying verbs. So if they manage to identify verbs, meaning us as teachers, we can continue to teach them onto the next topic that is related, that is very important for them to master identifying the verb first. And then lastly, our last solution, we recommend encouraging collaborative learning. So collaborative learning includes group activities, peer interaction, and collaborative tasks, which gives students the opportunity to reinforce their grammar understanding while actively participating in the learning process. So again, I took this from my own experience when I was learning in school. When I was in high school, when I started to get more interested in English grammar, when I started to feel that it is not as stressful as it seems, was because one of my teachers, he loves to do these group activities. Like he divided us into groups, and then he asked us to correct each other's writing. So that is peer correction. So when we help each other to correct our writing, so that's when we form this knowledge. We discuss about whether this is the correct use of sentences, whether this is the correct use of grammar, whether we are using the correct tenses. So this is encouraging not only for students to collaborate, to work together in groups, but also to actively think of the correct use of grammar. So I guess these are the 5 solutions that we are suggesting. The first one is to use to contextualize grammar teaching. The second one is for teacher professional development. The third one is to incorporate technology and game-based learning. The fourth is to focus on formative assessment. And the last one is to encourage collaborative learning in English classes in primary school. That's all from me.
In conclusion, mastering grammar is essential for students to succeed in learning English. The grammar is the language system. So, in order to learn and master English, we must learn and master its language system. However, as we have seen, there are significant challenges in grammar teaching and learning in Malaysia's primary schools. These include limited exposure to the English language, linguistic transfer from the mother tongue or first language to English as second language. Outdated teaching methods such as memorization, reinforcements, and drills, worksheets, etc., and other challenges related to teachers' training, cultural differences, and last but not least, large class sizes. In Malaysia, one teacher will teach on average 35 students in a class. But in international standards, one teacher can only teach 15 students. We have exceeded the international standard, which then makes language teaching inefficient. By addressing these issues, we will need contextualized lessons, the lessons should be student-centered. Teachers' development. We as teachers need to attend courses to improve our language teaching techniques with the latest one available. The use of modern technologies such as smartphones, computers to teach students, as well as give students the opportunity to learn through these technologies. Formative assessments, and last but not least, collaborative learning. The collaborative approach involves teachers, parents, to guide the students, is the key to ensure the lasting improvement in English grammar proficiency and mastery. With these methods, we can help students to overcome these challenges and improve their grammar skills. Thank you all for your attention. We hope this presentation has provided valuable insights in how we can enhance grammar teaching and learning in Malaysia. We now welcome any questions and feedback you may have. Thank you.
So I think that's all for us. Thank you so much for your attention. We hope this presentation has provided valuable insights into how we can enhance grammar teaching and learning, especially in Malaysia. I personally hope that we as the future educators will improve together in order to create a better generation in the future. We now welcome any questions or feedback that you may have. So if that's so, thank you again and have a nice day ahead.